My name is James McBride. I grew up on Boyd Leonard farm. My dad was named, they call him Boot McBride. Everybody called him Boot McBride. And my mother was Lucinda McBride. And I was born in 1949. I had my older sister's Marlene, my oldest brother's Tommy. He's a year and 7 months older than I am. The fields, as far as the tobacco thing, I started to work when I was 6 years old. First year I went to school, that's the first year I went to the tobacco field. I went to the tobacco field. We used to pull grass from around the plants. Crawl around after school, pull grass around the plants. And a lot of people don't realize that shade tobacco, well, tobacco period, but the shade tobacco started out before and I learned this through my parents and others, that when they came out with a cheesecloth to cover the tobacco, and the reason they did that, and I'm pretty sure you know what it was, to keep the sun from directly shining on shade tobacco, because shade tobacco was tender. That's what they made the cigars out. And there was 3 other black tobacco growers right here. And one, Mr. Irie, he grew for half of Tampa. He grew shade tobacco. He had about 40 acres, and he grew for half of Tampa. When we grew up, like I said, we started to work when we were 6 years old. I was 6 years old, and I started as a lugger. My daddy, he used to pack tobacco in the field. And when I say pack tobacco, they had barges. And people remember wagons, but they don't remember the barges. The barges was sleds. They had skids on them. The mule drug the barges to the barn and drug them back empty, and they would pack them and they're covered, and they'll come out and hook up to it and drag it. And that's the way it was. And that was early. That was when I first started working in the tobacco field. Then we got into the wagon, then they got into the tractor pulling the wagons and stuff like that. But in the beginning, it was barges and wagons pulled by mules. The mule was named Kate, and that's the only mule he would plow, Kate.
Kate, yeah.
And all he got to do is talk to the mule, and the mule, I mean, just straight rows and stuff like that. That was right here. I lived here on Boyd Leonard farm. I can't remember what happened to Kate, but when they used to plow the fields, and when time for them to knock off, which was 6 o'clock, sun up to sundown, I would go to the field, and Daddy would put me on Kate, and I'd just be sitting up there, and she'll go to the lot from wherever field we was at. She'll go to the lot, stand at the gate, and the lot man would let him in and take me off. I was so small, take me off with a mule. But I didn't have to guide the mule or nothing. I just sat there. She'd take me to the lot. And the thing about, now I can speak for the farm that I grew up on, which was Boyd Leonard farm. There were some things that happened that didn't look so good, and when you look at the way they used to call it abuse, they call it abuse now, but back then it was discipline. And you couldn't, until shade tobacco was very tender, and you had to be careful with it, because when the stringers in the barn were stringing, if you break that stem, that was no good. That just throw that out. But we sometimes broke tobacco, and when too much of it come into the barn, the boss would come out, Boyd Leonard would come out and said, somebody's breaking the tobacco. And Mr. David, he was a foreman. My dad, Preacher Walker, Mr. David, those was the men's in the field. The rest of them was kids, and he would come out and he would actually strap kids, Boyd Leonard would. Matter of fact, I remember there was a kid, they called him Bald, we call him Bald, his name is Nathaniel Williams, and I seen him whooping with a tobacco stalk one time. And I thought that was, cruel. But when I look around today, it made us the people that we are now. When we grew up because we didn't go nowhere but on the farm. The people that you work with in the tobacco field, they came as a group. We became friends. We wrestled, we tussled and everything, but everybody was happy. But nothing like what it is today. After school was out, during the summer, when it wasn't a backer, he would give me something to do on the farm across from his house. He had a lot, and he wanted me to thin out pine trees, and he would give me something to do to make me a couple of dollars, because back then, luggers wages was $12.50. Men wages was $15 a week, just a week. And my mother used to give us the 50 cents that came out, that $12.50. She kept the rest of the money to buy our school clothes and the stuff that we needed. We never went wanting for anything. He was a man, I talked with him just before he passed. He got on oxygen, and I was going down to the farm to do some rabbit hunting. And well, I'm gonna tell you something else about that. But anyway, I stopped by his house, and he was sitting on his car, and I said, Mr. Boyd, I said, I'm going down here to shoot me some rabbit. He said, Red, he called me Red. He said, now I own some down there, Red, you can go on down there and you might find a rabbit. He said, but it might be a deer down there and you might see a deer down there. But back in the day, when we was living on the farm behind his house, we couldn't shoot the deer. We couldn't shoot the ducks. We could kill the rabbits and the possums and the coons and squirrels and stuff like that. But we weren't allowed to kill the deer nor the wild ducks. That was for them to shoot. Him and his buddies, they come in and shoot them down at the pond. And so we never did shoot any of those things when I was growing up. We lived real good. And when I say we lived real good, nobody ever went hungry. Daddy used to kill hogs every October when it got cold, the coldest day it looked like. He would kill hogs, 5, 6 hogs. Everybody on the farm would come, and they would dress those hogs out. And it was an all-day job because he killed 5 or 6 hogs. And when everybody left, they left with whatever they wanted, food on that farm. It was 7 houses on that farm.
I was going to ask you how many.
Yeah, it started out with 3. It started out with my dad's house, Mr. Preacher, and Miss Fannie Mae Smith. It was 3 houses, but before the farm, before I got grown, we had 7 houses on there. He had added houses, people's moving in, you know. And, but everybody would come together. People used to come together. This is something is missing today. Yeah. And they would, I mean, everybody just worked just like, you know. And we enjoyed it. And the kids, we played, and they gave us the liver out of the hog. We'd take it and put it on the coals where they cook. He gonna cook the lard at, and get it done. Then we'll eat it right off the coal. Yeah, no seasoning, nothing. It was already seasoned. Whatever, if we needed something, go to Mr. Boyd. That's what we call it, Mr. Boyd. He would loan you money or whatever and take it out your check or whatever. I mean, whoever you was. We used to have some guys on their jobs, some older gentlemen. They would get drunk, get in jail. The sheriff would they knew who was from. He tell them he go to talk to Mr. Leonard and tell him that he had so-and-so in jail. He said, we're keeping there till Monday morning. Because he didn't want him to come to work drunk, so he let him stay in jail so he can go get him Monday morning and put him to work. So that kept, you know, and but there was something that happened. I'll share this with you. And this is why I say he was a fair man. Him and a black guy got into it. I can't think of the black guy's name because I was young. It's right there at what we call the cattle gap, that right across from his house, about some money, what I was told. The black guy whooped Boyd Leonard. Somebody passed there, seeing what was going on, came up here to Havana, got a group of men, and they came back and asked Mr. Boyd, where was the guy? And Mr. Boyd wanted to know why. They said, well, they say he whooped you. He said, he whooped me fair and square. that's the kind of man he was. I mean, I've seen him tear up his own back or wrestling with some of the bigger guys. He wrestled out in the field with us, as well as the discipline part too. But he was a fair man. I can say that for him. He had when he when he talked, and I've seen this in some other people's too. There are a lot of cuss words, by the way, but it didn't mean nothing. It didn't have a meaning as of hatred. I mean, you almost had to know him in order to understand him, especially with that tobacco. I was reading an article which is in a paper here. They were saying that the railroad built Havana, and I from what I learned growing up, is all these tobacco farms have, even black guys have. It was three of them. I know Mr. Charlie, Mr. Irakins, and it was one of the over in St. John. He raised shade tobacco too, but Mr. Charlie might have raised sun tobacco, but there was other, and it was so many farms around here, and I looked at that as, and a lot of people came in. Mr. Leonard used to go to Tallahassee and get guys to bring up here to work on the tobacco farm, and that brought in all kind of stuff that I saw, and I know the train used to bring in coal and dump up right back up here. That's where the coals used to buy for the school, because when I was going to school, they had, in elementary, they had big round heaters, and Mr. Jack, we would have to go under the coal bin and get a bucket of coal, look like a 2-gallon array, and some splinters, and sit down by the heater when it's winter time. One child out of the class, normally it was me because I was being bad, had to go down and get the bucket and the splinters and put it down. So the next morning he would come back and fire that whole school up. Yeah, Mr. Jack, one man. Yeah, he was the janitor. Yeah. And he would put them coals in there, put them splinters in there, and put them coals in there and light it. Go from classroom to classroom. But now that classroom stayed warm all day. Yeah. He didn't have to come back and put those coals. They was those big coals. They wasn't like these little coals you buy at the store now. Yeah. Yes, my grandmother lived in Tallahassee. She would come up during the summer when we were working. She used to make quilts. Take all the old clothes and make hand sew quilts. And that's where we got our quilt set for the beds in the house. We only had 2 bedrooms. It was one for Mother and Daddy, and the other one for me and Tom and Marlene. She slept on the sofa. But anyway, my grandmother, she took care of my mother. She was working in the barn, Daddy working in the field. My grandmother would stay with us the whole period of time until my mama, to get through in the barn, then she can come home and take care of the house. My grandmother was a lady. It's almost unexplainable. I used to go down there because when she go back home, but that's where we took vacation at, in Tallahassee with Grandma. And she always smoked the pipe. And the thing Grandmama would do, she would get one of us to light the pipe for her. We put the tobacco in there and we'll light it and get to Grandma. That's the kind of grandmother she was. And her husband, Mr. Ed Bryant, used to sell fish and stuff like that for little hustle money, you know. And he sold some moonshine too, like Daddy. Oh yeah, he made his own buck, his own corn buck, and he sold it. And it used to be a short Coca-Cola bottle. He used to sell it for 25 cents a buck, a bottle, 25 cents. And Daddy kept money. He kept money in his pocket. People used to borrow money from Daddy. And he had a moonshine guy who used to bring by moonshine, and he'll buy the bottle and sell it, cut it down. And, yeah, a lot of guys just slept on our porch.
Did he have a special place where he stored it?
Stored it in the smokehouse.
Smokehouse.
He got somebody busted him one time, but luckily the only thing he had in there was corn buck. And the revenues came, and in the middle of the day, we was in the field, when we came home, the revenue was there. And all they did, they looking for the moonshine. But They didn't find any moonshine, but they did bust the 5-gallon jugs that he had to buck in. But that didn't mean that he made some more. Yeah, but no, he kept his in the smokehouse. We had a smokehouse, and to the smokehouse, Mr. Warren Miller, that was Mr. Leonard's father-in-law. I was in school, the first year when I started school. I always liked to build things. And Mr. Warren Miller would come walk down, he never did ride nowhere. He always walked from up there down to the house. And he would bring a handsaw, some nails and an apron, and a hammer. And he told me how to cut boards, and I made that smokehouse. I mean, the corn crib on the back of the smokehouse.
Really?
Yeah. And every day, this old gentleman, and him and Daddy was like buddies, Mr. Miller. They the one that started the farm. That was handed down to Boyd Leonard. The farm, after he got so old, he handed the farm over to Mr. Leonard. But anyway, Mr. Miller and Daddy, people used to say he was brother because they'd be sitting on the porch all the time. Matter of fact, Mr. Miller got sick. And when he got sick, Daddy used to go up and spend the night with him, sit with him all night long. You know. So there was some good times, and there was some good people. Yeah. Amen. Yes, sir. You couldn't have said nothing no better, because I look back at that, and as far as growing crops and stuff, I generally grow okra. This year, for the first year, I didn't grow some okra, but it taught me not only about surviving, it taught me the person that I am. And I feel good about myself. I mean, because my mother, when we got of age, you get up, you make your bed up, and you get out the house. Today, kids don't get up to 11, 12 o'clock. They lay up in the bed. My mother, no. You're gonna get up, you're gonna make that bed up, and when I say make the bed up, I ain't talking about spread it. You make the bed up. Because you know, you can spread it, make it look good on top, and you got all the wrinkles on there. No. She didn't play that. Yeah. And she was as good as, I'm gonna tell you this, I'm gonna share this with you. I kill birds. Daddy always taught me, said, Red, if you kill something, make sure you're gonna eat it. I used to kill birds, my mama used to cook them. I had killed these birds, and I want to cook them, because I seen my mama cook them, and I'm gonna cook these birds. They was working. And I came home from school, and I showed them, I cleaned the birds and everything, and I called myself, made some gravy in a pot. The pot was a white pot with a little red ring around it, and I cooked them. My mama come home, I was just as proud as I could be. And she came and she said, something smells good. I said, yes, ma'am. I said, I cooked some birds. So she went in, she looked in the pot. She said, oh, they smell so good. And she kept hesitating. I'm waiting on her to taste them. She said, but Red, next time you cook your birds, take the foots off of them. I had left the foots, them little foot sticking. And I remember that just like it was yesterday. So I'll take the foots off now. When I was growing up, I had my hair. And Daddy didn't want my mama to cut my hair. It was red. And it was long, rolled, and Daddy, for whatever reason, he never did want my mama to cut my hair. And when they did, she did talk him into letting her cut my hair. It was red, and he kept a plait in a cigar box. I guess it burned up and the house burned up, but he kept a plait. My hair was red, so everybody called me Red. Yeah. Parents and people made sure they kept eye on those kids. And we knew this. And we knew what the price was. It wasn't my dad, it was my mama. My sister and I, Marlene, the oldest sister, she's a year and something behind me. We used to fight all the time, but we bad about fighting. My mama got tired of it. She said, Me and Marlene was fighting. She called us in the bedroom. She sat down on the corner of the bed. She said, y'all, I can't stop y'all from fighting. She said, so I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. Y'all go out there. We had a bunch of plum trees. So go cut you a switch. I'm saying to myself, give me a switch, give me a gooder. So I went and cut me a switch. Marlene cut her a switch. Came back. She said, now y'all hold hands and y'all wanna whoop each other, go ahead and whoop each other. I'm gonna get the first lick. I cut down on Marlene. Marlene cut down on me. I was mad then. I cut down on Marlene. Marlene cut down on me. I said, Mother, she hit me hard and I hit her. She said, well, hit her hard back. I cut down on Marlene. Marlene cut down on me. I went to boo-hooing. That was the last fight me and my sister had. Like I said, for as the tobacco, it was a great thing for me and my family, because my brothers, now he's in Atlanta, and like I said, my Molly, she's still here, and Mary, she got killed in a car wreck down on the turnpike. But for those of us that still here, like I said, Molly and Tommy, my brother, my older brother, you can tell we was raised on a farm. I mean, my brother come home, he just wants to hang out with me because he know I'm going in the woods or doing something, you know. And I enjoy it, and like I said about Molly, she loves to cook, and she loves to cook wild stuff, and she gonna call me, come get you some of this. I don't change. My daddy used to cook, and I would come home from work, go around the house, because after his house burnt down, I put him a trailer right in my backyard, and that's where he stayed until he died when he was 99. And he said, boy, go in and get you some of that whatchamacallit. That's what he would say, whatchamacallit. He wouldn't have it. I said, what you got? Some of that whatchamacallit. I would say this, and I'm gonna let y'all go, but he went to prison when he was 17. He got in they call him a tussle, with a guy out here at Twin Creek. The guy owed him a nickel or a quarter. And he went to the man was older. And he asked the man for his nickel or quarter, whatever it was. And the man told him, the man was talking to a lady. And he said he didn't have it. So Daddy went over, said he went over there and stood by the heater. It was in the wintertime. So he standing by the heater, and the guy came over and said, you want your quarter or nickel, whichever one it was. So you get it out my behind. He used some other words, and they got into a tussle. Daddy always could wrestle. And I used to be bad about wrestling too. And Dad said he got his knife in his hand, and he got him in what they call a hip lock. Unless you done some scuffling, you know. And what he did, he threw him over his hip, but the knife was in his hand. And the man's throat came over the knife. He Daddy said he fell in the wood pile, and somebody came over. They didn't have lights. They had kerosene lamp lights, and shined the light over on it because the guy didn't get up. And he said, they said, he bleeding out the neck. So Daddy said he had put his knife back in his jumper. That's around it's wintertime. So he opened his knife, the guy had some kinfolks there, and he went on out the door, and he stayed in the woods. That was on Friday night, and he stayed in the woods until that Sunday, right on the glade. And Daddy said Mr. Hosey Scott was coming down the road on a mule wagon. He came out, and Mr. Hosey begged him, said, Boot, don't cut me. He said, I ain't gonna cut you. I said, I'm gonna turn myself in. He turned himself in when he was 17, and he spent 20 years in prison. He was the cook for the prison camp. They didn't come in like y'all see prison now. They stayed out there. They cut road. They cut Lake Talcott. That's a man-made lake. That's cut by prisoners. Lake Talcott, yeah. And the things that they had to cook was the thing that the prisoner killed, gators, turtles, or whatever, and he had to cook it, whatever kind of meat it was. But he got to be a trustee, and he would cook, He could go out to nightclubs or whatever, but he had to be back there to have breakfast ready the next morning. He didn't work out in the cutting and doing all that, but he was the cook. That was his job. He made trustee. And that's when he said that whatchamacallit, when I come around the house, go in and get you some of that whatchamacallit. Yeah. No, he done cook something. Said, I didn't worry about it. It was gonna be good anyway. Yeah.
He probably cooked. Have you ever had that Himalayan possum, James?
A Himalayan possum. I had a lot of possum.
Well, I mean, that's possum when you're going down the road, you find Himalayan in the road.
Yes, I have. Matter of fact, you said that. I was coming out of Jameson night before last, and I hit a Himalayan possum. And I got him.